All right, here's a crazy something happened in New York today. Look at this weirdness. Look at this lady right here. Can you check this out?
It's back to school.
Oops, I gotta play an ad.
Are you 2 projects due the same day ready? Create the next big thing ready. Get your entire list for less ready.
Can I skip it?
Shop Staples and be more than ready for
Yes,
back to
everybody,
school.
shop Staples. Okay. See, this girl just walks up and shoots this girl in the head here, in the red. She just walks up and shoots her in the head. And apparently just turns around after that. And then there she is on the ground. And look how casually she walks back to her car, gets into it, and drives away. Man, that's just brutal. God. And let's see. Family members believe the shooter followed Johnson from a funeral in the neighborhood early in the day. This is in, I think it's in New York, Brooklyn, right? So isn't that weird? Family members believe the shooter followed Johnson from a funeral earlier in the neighborhood. She was at the funeral earlier in the evening for an old neighborhood friend to pay her respects, and then this happened, said her brother. The killer, a blonde woman wearing a black top and black leggings, I don't think she's really blonde, okay, lifted her gun and shot Johnson in the head, then fired at her again as she hit the ground. So I guess she got shot twice. And look how casually she just walked away and got in that car. The violence sent bystanders fleeing for their lives. One man recoiled in horror near a parked car, while the people Johnson were speaking to toppled backwards on the stoop in front of her. The shooter then walked back to a white double-parked sedan, got in the driver's seat, and drove off. Johnson's siblings described her as ebullient and generous, and an entrepreneur who had become successful enough to buy a car for her 17-year-old daughter. The funeral Johnson attended before the shooting took place at the Sealy Collier Funeral Home on Pacific Street, just 4 blocks away. It drew hundreds of mourners from the neighborhood. He didn't know the woman in the video, but said she attended. So that video, this lady right here was at the funeral. So you sort of wonder, there's got to be some sort of a beef between the two of them. Anyways, so that's a story that's going on. So I guess we'll keep looking at that. It seems like they'll be making an arrest soon. That's about as clear a video as you can get. Pretty obvious. But I think that's probably a wig that she's wearing, or somebody just colored their hair. But I mean, somebody's going to come forward on that one. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Admiral, something like that. Like, you took my man, and And she has kids, and she's 42 years old, and had her own business, and she was doing really well. So that sucks. All right. And here's a story somebody wanted me to put out here. Missing woman's remains found entombed in concrete. So this one's pretty weird. Authorities are investigating a disturbing crime after they said a 70-year-old woman was found entombed in concrete in the basement of her Avery County home earlier this week. Deputies are currently searching for the woman's caretaker in connection with the case. On July 30th, Avery County deputies filed a missing person report for Lynn Keene. She had been reported missing from her Linville Falls home by family members who said they had last spoken to her on June 14th. When detectives went to the home, they found it was secured and that Keene 2000 Lincoln Town Car was missing. Keene and her vehicle were both entered into the North Carolina database. On Monday, officers with the Cherokee Police Department notified Avery County that Lincoln had been found, the vehicle, had been found abandoned on Blue Wing Road in Cherokee. Investigators said the car was locked and the keys for the vehicle were found beneath the driver's seat. Why wouldn't you just throw the keys in the woods? It's just so weird how it's... Avery County detectives were then able to get a search warrant for Keene's home, and with the help from the North Carolina SBI entered the house. During the search, detectives and SBI agents found human remains entombed in concrete in the basement. Wow, that's crazy. An autopsy determined through dental records that the remains were Keene. The autopsy also determined that Keene did not die of natural causes and that the cause of death was homicide. Detectives quickly developed a person of interest in Keene's homicide and are searching for 53-year-old Elizabeth Freeman, who was hired by the family to be Keene's live-in caretaker. Okay, wow. So her live-in caretaker is who they think did this? Man. Deputies said Freeman may be using the name Elizabeth Casarino and could be in Dorchester County. She's 5'4", 200 pounds, and has blonde shoulder-length hair. Freeman is wanted on charges of larceny of a motor vehicle, financial, card theft, and identity theft. So she was probably, I bet you she was put in concrete like in a barrel or something. And she was going to be removed and tossed into a river. But that never happened. Strange times out there, but keep me updated on this one if you guys get an update, because that lady's on the run, so we should keep checking this one out. Get the answers. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll let her stay at one of the judges' houses that lets pedophiles out. You know, just stay over here. And by the way, how about this? We're going to let her stay at your house. We're also going to provide her with 2 bags of cement. Okay? Okay, Judge? 2 bags of cement. And we'll just let her stay at your house and see if you feel safe with that. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, let's see. They do, Paulette? No way, man. Yeah, a lot of crazy people out there. All right. So here is the. This is a new case that's developing right now. It's in Europe, Georgia, and it's in the country of Georgia. And Shanae Edwards. So let's see. The devastated boyfriend of an Australian teacher who was raped and murdered while solo hiking a mountain in Georgia has vowed to avenge her death. Shania Brooke Edwards, 31, was ambushed as she climbed Mount... Oh man, I can't even say that, but it's Mitsaminda in Tbilisi on Friday before search and rescue teams found her body the next day. Her enraged partner, Moody El Sayed, vowed to track down her killer no matter how long it took and give them a horrible death. I have one mission now in my life, and that is to kill the person, man, you don't want to say that out loud, who took her life, he said. I don't care if I spend the rest of my life behind bars, justice will be served. Well, I guess it's okay to say that. I'd say the same thing. Will be served, and you are going to suffer the same she suffered. Justice will be served, my love. That person, I will personally bury him down under. Nothing is going to stop me, I promise you. Thank you, Kathy Freidenmaker. That's funny, like this picture and this one, I wouldn't be able to tell that was the same person. I mean, they're cute in both of them, but they don't look like the same person. Mr. El Sayed said he planned to be in Europe with Miss Edwards, but coronavirus pandemic kept them apart, so he couldn't go with her because of the pandemic. He called her the love of his life and said that they had plans to start a family before she was callously murdered. Miss Edwards had been teaching English in the former Soviet Republic for 2 years and traveling the world since 2016. Georgia's Ministry of Internal Affairs launched the investigation into her death, which is being treated as a premeditated murder. Local media has reported a potential suspect with blonde hair, aged in his 30s, is now believed to be a person of interest. Mr. El Sayed said the pair planned to move to Georgia together from Cambodia to start a new life, but they broke up and she went on her own. They broke up, huh? I was super proud of you of what you achieved. Why did they? If you broke up, then why? How did COVID have anything to do with it? Now that doesn't make any sense. Just started a new life, but they broke up and she went on her own. But you just said that you were together. That's a little confusing right there. Now they moved to Georgia together from Cambodia, but above it said that coronavirus kept you from going. But if you were broken up, why would that be the reason you didn't go? Well, now it sounded like he's an ex, yeah. I was super proud of you, of what you achieved, and you were happy, so I was happy, he wrote on Facebook. Mr. El Sayed from Lebanon said that last year they realized they were still madly in love. Okay. I see. So she went to Georgia, they were broken up, and then they sort of got back together. But COVID restrictions prevented them from reuniting. So they were just kind of waiting to be able to get back together, I guess. I was ready to fly instantly to Georgia to be with you, but the entry was forbidden. It's weird that, so this is a letter he wrote to her. At that point, getting vaccines in Lebanon was a hard mission, but I tried and tried and I tried and kept hitting walls of curfews, lockdowns, probably like how it is in Australia at this point. I was supposed to be there to protect you. I did all the time we were together. Your life was taken away by an evil person while you were doing something you love. It's kind of I don't know, this is sort of weird writings here, you know. I lost the love of my life. It's almost too much in a way, you know. Miss Edwards called the friend moments earlier. Oh yeah, listen. Okay, so here he goes. I lost the love of my life. We were supposed to get back together and have a family. How do we know that that's true? About that part. Miss Edwards was on a call to a friend in the U.S. So this lady, she was on a call to a friend in the U.S. while trekking when she heard shouting, and she heard this lady say, "Take your hands off of me," before the call cut out. Miss Edwards called the friend moments earlier who heard her pleading, "Please let me go, okay? Just let me go." She was seen on CCTV footage leaving her apartment at 3:35 on Friday with her hair tied up, wearing black hiking outfit and carrying a green bag. On Friday afternoon, one local woman posted on a expats Facebook group that she heard women screaming at the trails under, at that same park at about an hour after Miss Edwards had left home. Another woman wrote in the same group claiming to have witnessed a disturbing sight of the mountain, on the mountain, about the same time Miss Edwards went missing. She claimed to have seen a man having aggressive sex with a woman about 50 meters away while her and her partner were walking exactly one day before the missing expat. With a woman about 50 meters away while her and her partner were walking exactly one day before the so it was the day before. Others urged her to report what she saw to police, while several reported separate incidents. It looks like a really pretty place. What a weird story. Huh? I'm going to try to play this one. If it will. The turtle? What turtle? Was reported missing on Friday, July 30th after failing to return from a solo hike. So the following day, her body was located by Georgian authorities. Friends have paid tribute. I was super proud of you. I mean, it's kind of, this whole thing is weird. See, that doesn't even look like her either, does it? I mean, you look at some of these, it looks a little bit like this one, but it doesn't look like that other one that we looked at. That's why you got to put multiple pictures on missing person posters a lot of times, because people have different looks. Hunt for killer of Australian woman Shanae Edwards goes on as loved ones mourn. Let's see. She would also be respectful, walking up at 5 a.m. or hiking. I'm just trying to find if there's any more detail here. Yeah. Anyways, that's kind of crazy that it was caught on audio. I wonder if they have any cameras around that would have caught the person. Might just be one of those ones where you never get an answer. Hope not, though. Hope not. Plenty of hog farms in Georgia. Oh, yeah. What about it? It's not Georgia the state, Michelle. It's Georgia the country in Eastern Europe. Yeah, it sounds like she was just doing her thing, but like we always say, everybody, there's monsters everywhere. You just never know. You never know. Okay. We have an update on this case over here, the Zoe Campos case. You guys remember this one? This is one, I'm just going to try to vaguely remember it, where the only update, there was really no update, but in the update they talk about a letter that he had written, Carlos Rodriguez. This is the case where I remember she was at a house, Zoe Campos, and then with her sister, and then there was a lot of stuff going, like she went out of the house at a certain point, and then she just disappeared. And it turns out, I mean, the person that a lot of people suspected was this Carlos Rodriguez guy, and her body was found in his yard, buried after many years. And I have I just want to read the letter.
Story that arrived at the KCBD newsroom by mail this afternoon.
This is in Texas.
Tonight we bring you new details from the tragic murder of Zoe Campos. Carlos Rodriguez, the 25-year-old man charged with murdering 18-year-old Zoe in 2013, sent a letter
Zoe
to
Campos
KCBD
is very
today
pretty.
Describing details of
sounds
the
like
night
me
he
sometimes.
is suspected of killing her.
In November of 2018, Rodriguez helped lead police to skeletal remains in the backyard of a home in the 1900 block of 70th Street. And then later that night, Rodriguez was arrested and charged with murder in connection to Campos, who had been missing for 5 years. KCBD News Channel 11's Katie Main joins us now in the studio with what we know. Katie.
Karen and Abner, I'm holding the letter addressed to us here at KCBD from Carlos Rodriguez. It's a letter he wrote from the Lubbock County Detention Center to his judge, apologizing for his crime and asking for mercy. In November, we learned through Rodriguez's arrest warrant that he is accused of choking and killing Zoe Campos. Today, in this letter, we learn the details.
In a letter.
Yeah, they don't even go over the letter, but that's her right there. I'm going to read it right here. Let's see. In his letter, Rodriguez said his intentions were to meet Zoe and have a good time. He wanted to see if they could be friends or more. Of course. Well, see, that's right. I mean, of course you're going to say that, right? I'm not a murderer, Rodriguez said. I simply committed a reckless act 5 years ago that ended tragic. And I don't know about you. I'm okay with that. I mean, after he just said that right now, don't you feel like he should just get let's cut him a break? That's why he said he's asking the court, the district attorney, and his community to please give him a chance to learn. Okay? I'm not asking for a dismissal. I just want a fair judgment, Rodriguez said. Please reconsider me and have mercy on me. In the letter, Rodriguez asked readers to do their kids, friends, and people dear to them a favor, he said. Educate them on this K2 synthetic marijuana. Please. It will save everyone suffering pain. And most importantly, it can save lives. Okay? In November 2018, skeletal human remains were found in a backyard in the 1900 block of 70th Street. That night, Rodriguez was arrested and charged with murder. 18-year-old Zoe Campos was last seen on November 17, 2013 by her family, nearly 5 years to the day her remains were found. The letter from Rodriguez says he and Campos smoked K2 and he started to lose track of time and spacing out. She kept saying things and I could hear her laughing, but my mind was somewhere else. When I turned to face her, her face looked different. She looked very weird in an evil way, and I started to panic. But I couldn't move. I wanted to tell her, but I didn't want to sound weak or embarrassed, so I started to sweat a lot, and I could feel my heart pounding so hard in my chest that I couldn't speak or swallow because of this huge knot in my throat. Zoe kept grinning and asking me if I was okay, but I was certain I was dying. That's when I started to get lightheaded, and my vision started to black out. Then Zoe, this guy, I actually don't believe any of this shit. Then Zoe said, "You're effing tripping, man." And when she opened her mouth to laugh, her face started to melt, and that's when I struck her. She got up and I heard a demonic scream. I remembered her running to the door, and so I grabbed what appeared to be a demon from behind in a rear naked choke. Okay, now he's got rear naked choke in his mind, right? I don't know how long I was choking her gut. I don't know how long I was choking her gut. Okay. When I let go, I started to come back. I started to realize that what happened, and my whole world started to crumble. Yes, I hid the body, of course. I had to live with this guilt and fear for 5 long years. You poor bastard, huh? But things ain't always what they appear to be, and with that being said, I would like to say that I'm not a murderer, because never in my right state of mind will I have committed such a horrible act. Rodriguez's attorney, Charles Blevin, requested his statement be included in this report. Yeah. Anyways, I just, it's so ridiculous. Okay. And to tell you the truth, I don't care. I mean, I give, so a case like that, he gets 25 years minimum. You know, second degree murder, that's probably all they could prove. That's it, man. There isn't going to be, well, listen, I've already suffered enough. Just hear me out, man. Hey, listen. I'll be an advocate for K2. You know, against K2. Sorry, guys. I'll go around and I'll tell people not to take it. But man, that was crazy. You should have seen it. She looked like a freaking demon, man. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I don't give two craps about this guy. Here's the well. It looks like there's more here. Let's see. I committed a weakness, first in which Zoe Campos was killed. I was all over the news, and finally, after 5 years of fear, guilt, and shame, I can finally make peace with myself and God. I want the people in my community and on social media to know not just part of the truth, but the whole truth. This is a letter I'm writing to my judge in the 140th District Court in Lubbock, Texas. Please take the time to read and get involved and share this letter. Oh, I'm sharing it, all right. And one last thing, do your kids, friends, and people dear to you a favor. Educate them on this K2 synthetic marijuana. Please, it will save everyone. So let's see where it starts up with the new. So that ended on horrific act. Let's begin starting the reason for this okay. First off, let me begin by stating that the reason for this non-verbal statement is not to deny my actions or change any facts to the crime that occurred on 11/17/2013 of first-degree murder so it is first-degree murder to the deceased victim, Zoe Campos. The fact that harm and death was inflicted to the victim by my physical person is indeed correct. I confessed to the detectives after 5 long years of guilt. No, it's because you got caught. Shame and fear of the unknown outcome. I gave detectives the information they asked for and led them to the right direction, but not for... Remember that they found a dog, like dog bones first in the yard? Then they found her after that. Hey, thanks, Chris Petrie. Is that correct? Did I say it right? Petrie or is it Petrie? We had a player on the Blazers a long time ago named Jeff Petrie. I thought it was spelled similar. Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Now, these links are in the description. You guys can go. Hold on. Let me see. There might be some more. About a murderous plan. Let's see. Shit. Finish. Containing K2. I asked her if that stuff was any good and it's going to be high. And she smiled and said, hell yeah. So she's blaming him for taking it. I took the cigarillo and started to take huge drags like I was doing marijuana. Started to lose track of time and spacing out. She kept saying things, laughing, but my mind was somewhere else. When I turned to face her, her face looked different. Yeah. Well, there might be more details in there. Oh, there it is. I don't know how long I was choking her. So I hid the body, and I had to live with the guilt and fear for 5 years. But things aren't always what they appear. Horrific act. Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe any of that stuff. Do you guys believe any of it? What always does, you've seen like 2 short interviews with him while he's grieving his daughter. Who are you talking about, Steven? I'm not even sure what you're talking about. You don't know what he always does. You've seen like 2 interviews with him while he's grieving his daughter. Huh? I don't get it. What's going on? Who's arguing again? God, I'm just getting so tired. I just want to have like a normal show. What's happening? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't sound like Don Wells at all. You talking about me? Maybe they're talking about me the way I'm reading it. Yeah, maybe. Well, he knows that it makes you nuts, right? Carolina Adventures. So then he's going to weave a story that makes it sound like he took it. And he probably thought, how can I get out of this? You know what I could do? Is I'll be contrite, but I'll say that it was all because of this drug, and it just really wasn't me. I'm really a good person. I know that I should be punished, but maybe it shouldn't be as high because I'm really not that bad. That's what he's trying to do. Okay, I just don't buy it at all. Now, people that are really into like knowing about what drugs do and everything. No, he's serious. Well, you don't think he read about it? And he knew exactly what to put in there? Of course he did. Yeah, wow, okay. Anyways, if you guys want to read the entire letter, it's one of the links in the description. All right, now we're going to get on to Gwen Miller. That's the one that we're going to have a... I don't do interviews on this channel ever. I have never done one. But we're going to have this guy come on pretty soon, the detective. I'm being facetious. We've done tons of interviews on this channel, okay? But you've got people who just don't realize it. They don't care to realize it. They don't know about it. They don't know anything. Okay? Oh, yeah, you had 5 years to do it. All right, so this is Gwen Miller. I found a bunch of the old school newspaper articles again. So here we go. And this one, we can try to... I think I've got it mapped out, some of this. Oops. Okay. Cut. I just happen to be in the right place. That's the house right there. That looks like a house that's been there for a long time. Alright, here we go. A Rapid City woman, Gwen V. Miller. And this is South Dakota. Let me just make sure I'm in the right. Come on, you guys. Yeah. I'm in the right place. A Rapid City woman, Gwen V. Miller, about 60, who lived at 3901 Hall, was found dead at her home under somewhat peculiar circumstances. Miss Miller, a pharmacist at Bennett Clarkson Memorial Hospital, failed to appear at work Thursday morning. Hospital personnel, knowing she was a diabetic with a history of diabetic coma, called her on the phone. When there was no answer, a nurse went to her house. The nurse found the glass on the back door smashed. Miss Miller was dead in her bed. There were no signs of struggle in the small, neat home, and the body was in bed as she had been sleeping. So her body was in bed as if she had been sleeping when she died. Because of the broken glass and other circumstances, County Coroner George Behrens ordered an autopsy to be performed Thursday afternoon. The Pennington County Sheriff's Office, which is conducting the investigation, took prints from the area of the back door. No funeral arrangements had been made as of early Thursday afternoon. Survivors include a sister, Mrs. Melvin Harris of Crestburg. All right, then the next day, this was actually leap year. It was February 29th. So, Gwen V. Miller, about 60, Miller, pharmacist. I think that's pretty much the same story, I can tell. All right, then 2 days later, police follow Mitchell lead in Miller's death. Investigation into the strangulation murder of Miss Gwen Miller, 60, hospital pharmacist, centered in Mitchell Saturday, where Sheriff Glenn Best and Deputy George Tennyson questioned a possible suspect. Sheriff Best said on his return late Saturday they had gone to the eastern part of the state to check out a lead but declined further comment, but then a suspect had been questioned. Miss Miller was found dead in bed Thursday morning after she failed to report to work at Bennett Clarkson Hospital. Let's see if that's still here. Yeah. Let's see. Hospital in... I bet it's not called that anymore. In Rapid City. Rapid City Medical Center. She lived right there. I don't think, I bet you it's probably over here, but that obviously doesn't have the same name as it used to have. Miss Miller was found dead in bed Thursday morning. Hey, thanks, Holly Harris. After she failed to report to work at Bennett Clarkson Hospital. An autopsy showed that she had been strangled. So now they know that she was strangled to death. A window was broken in the back door. Officers said robbery was the apparent motive. A billfold and checkbook of Miss Miller were items which officers are searching for. While Best and Tennyson went to Mitchell, other deputies and police officers continued the investigation. Alright, and let's see what this one says. Okay, that's pretty similar to the last one. And the following day, on the 4th, This is 1968, by the way. Man held for RC slang questioning. Minnesota authorities are expecting to return admitted parole violator Harold Hardenberger to that state from Mitchell, where he had turned himself into the police. A parole violator from Marshall, Minnesota. He has been under questioning by Rapid City authorities in connection with the slang Wednesday of Miss Gwen Miller. That guy's name is Hardenberger. Alright. And a month after that, wasn't a lot of articles. Plus it's also South Dakota. A serious situation has arisen in Rapid City due to a storm of rumors which are based on the February 28th murder of Gwen Miller, 60, according to Pennington County State Attorney R. James Brennan. So it was the 28th, not the 29th. The article was the 29th, leap year. The rumors, said Brennan, are speculating on the identity of persons who may be responsible for the strangulation death. Brennan, see, this is just like it is now on social media, just like what you just heard on that channel earlier. Okay? It's the same kind of shit that goes on, even back then. Thank you, Cindy Leon. Brennan emphatically pointed out there has been no arrest to date in the murder case. Police and the sheriff's office are continuing their investigation, said Brennan, and exploring every avenue possible as they have with cases in the past.
Thanks, Gray.
Thank you. A substantial number of persons have been contacted by law enforcement officers who are seeking information on Miss Miller's known acquaintances or other information which might prove pertinent. Brennan said when a suspect is arrested, the public will be immediately advised of that fact. At present, said Brennan, there is an unfounded rumor existing in the community that an individual has been arrested, and there may be additional rumors concerning other individuals coming up from time to time. Until there is an official statement from the state's attorney or the sheriff, these rumors can only jeopardize the continued investigation into this crime. These baseless rumors can do irreparable damage to an individual and could also cause, like somebody being in a shed, cause other persons who have fragmentary information from stating anything for fear they themselves may become targets of the gossip. In the past, Brennan noted, the police and sheriff's office have done an excellent job in clearing up serious crimes and evidence by the record of the convictions. Okay, so anyways, they're just telling the public to quit doing the wild speculation. I mean, claiming things to be true that you don't know to be true, right? Like, what we do on this channel is we speculate reasonably based on the facts given. We don't outright accuse people. Some of these cold cases, sure, you're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I mean, it seems really obvious. They just couldn't put the evidence together. Oh boy, here we go. Come on. Angela Vincent, oh boy. Yeah. Sheriff's officers continue investigating of Gwen Miller slaying 11 months ago. So let's see if this has anything in it. Her fellow workers didn't know she had been brutally murdered overnight. They thought maybe the frail Miss Miller, a diabetic, was in an insulin coma. She had a history of this. And that's totally reasonable. Makes sense. They went to check and found the 60-year-old pharmacist dead in her bed. There were no signs of struggle in her small, neat home at 3901 Hall. Miss Miller's body was in bed as if she had been sleeping when she died. But the nurses and the next-door neighbor, Miss Dave Strain, noticed the glass of the back door had been kicked out. Further investigation disclosed that Miss Miller A personalized checkbook and wallet were missing. But couldn't those have been removed just as an opportunity? Like, you might have been there as a sexual assault, but you steal something. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that's... Let me ask you this. If you were well, it'd be hard to visualize yourself being one of these people, but if somebody that's going in to sexually assault somebody, and as you're leaving, you see $500 sitting on a counter, and you go, oh shit, and you just grab it, does that mean, well, the motive was robbery because he had 500 sitting on the counter? No, it just means it was right there, right? Because of these and other peculiar circumstances, County Coroner George Behrens ordered an autopsy to be performed that afternoon. This autopsy was to show that Gwen Miller was strangled to death, and had been sexually assaulted. There you go. Boom. Okay? So, was robbery really the motive then? No. Investigation into the death of the quiet, kindly woman. I hadn't read that, by the way, just letting you know. Investigation into the death of the quiet, kindly woman, of whom the children in the neighborhood were especially fond, began at once. Shortly after the murder, local officers learned of a man arrested in the eastern part of the state who could have been a suspect. They flew there, interrogated him, and satisfied themselves he had nothing to do with the crime. So, she was sexually assaulted. For weeks, rumors flew about the city about possible suspects. Then slowly the public turned its attention to other matters. Aside from a few friends and a local law enforcement officials, Miss Miller was out of sight, out of mind. One of the officers who didn't forget what Chief Deputy Sheriff George Tennyson One of the officers who didn't forget was Chief Deputy Sheriff George Tennyson. Since the murder, he has pursued every possible lead presented. This includes interviews with many people and giving lie detector tests to others. You know, he even asked, if it was you that committed this crime, what would you have done? He was also asked, what do you think happened? Right? Remember that one? What's the big one? Oh yeah. One of the key questions he asked was, what do you think the punishment for this guy should be, huh? One of the officers who didn't forget was Chief Deputy Sheriff George Tennyson. Since the murder, he has pursued every possible lead presented. This includes interviews with many people and giving lie detector tests to others. Tennyson said he would welcome any information, no matter how vague, that will help him in the search. There is some physical evidence that will go a long way to establish the identity of the killer. You know, this is 1968, everybody. Yeah, so anyways. Let me move on to the 1970. She was brought up in another article. Yeah, now it's unsolved murder happened 2 years ago. Let's see what this one. Yeah, this looks a lot more detailed here. Now we got employees at the Bennett Clarkson Hospital Pharmacy were puzzled when Gwen Miller didn't show up for work Thursday morning, and more than a little worried when she didn't answer the telephone. A frail, slightly built woman, she had been in generally poor health for some time, and she suffered from diabetes. This article is 50 years ago, 1970. 51. She could have slipped into a diabetic coma. Nurse Gail Luce drove out to Miss Miller's modest home. She found her in bed dead. That was 2 years ago. Gwen Miller was strangled late February 28th or early February 29th, 1968. So I guess that could have been right. The killer is still at large. This case isn't closed, said Detective Sergeant Carol Bose, Rapid City Police Department. The investigation is far from over. It bothers me, too, that we still have an unsolved murder in Rapid. Bose and former Pennington County Deputy Sheriff George Tennyson, now U.S. Deputy Marshal at Sioux Falls, were in charge of the investigation. At first, there really was nothing to indicate that Miss Miller, then 60 years old, had suffered a violent, dirty death. She was found lying on her back in bed, her hair neatly arranged. There were no chairs tipped over, no blood on the bed, nothing. No knives or guns or clubs on the floor. There was only a broken window in the rear door of the home. That broken window, with pieces of glass lying in the side of the house, prompted investigators to order an autopsy. Pennington County Coroner George Barron's report showed not only that Miss Miller died of strangulation, a fact that was not readily apparent when the body was found, but also that the dead woman had several broken ribs. Wow. Law enforcement officers went through the victim's home with a fine-tooth comb. A bizarre story, still only a theory, began to unfold. This is what probably happened on February 18th, 1968. Okay, here we go. We get some crazy shit here. I haven't read it, so I'm as excited as you guys. I'm sure you're just at the edge of your seats, right? Okay, this could be pretty interesting. Law officers went through the victim's home with a fine-tooth comb. A bizarre story, still only a theory, began to unfold. This is what probably happened. Maybe they meant February 28, 1968. Let's just see. A man with a... It says 18th. I'm guessing maybe they're saying 28th, but we got to read it because maybe they're referring to something that happened in the past. A man with a history of sexual perversion crouched in the shrubbery near Miss Miller's home, looking through the windows. It was dark. The neighborhood in the western part of the city was quiet. The shade in the bathroom was not pulled all the way to the sill, but was raised about 6 inches. Miss Miller was bathing. As the man in the shrubbery watched, she got out of the tub, dried herself, put on her night clothes, and went into the bedroom. The man crept to the bedroom window. There, too, the shade was raised about 6 inches. He watched her get into bed. He quietly... So they meant the 28th. He quietly walked to the back door and turned the knob, but the door was locked. So he smashed the glass, reached through the shattered window, and turned the knob from the inside. Miss Miller must have heard the glass breaking, but no one else in the neighborhood did. She may have cried out when the intruder walked into her bedroom, but no one heard her scream. Yeah, that's a big one here. Let's see. The murderer knelt on the victim's chest and gripped the headboard of the bed with both hands, forcing her to submit to an unnatural sex act. He broke her ribs with his knees, and then he placed a thumb on each side of the neck and killed her. He didn't immediately flee from the scene of the crime. Instead, he rearranged or replaced everything that had got tipped over or pushed out of place during the attack. He pulled up the bedclothes. He may have even straightened the dead woman's hair. Only after he was satisfied that everything was perfect did he walk out of the house and into the night. The fact that everything was not perfect gives law enforcement authorities the hope that the murderer will be captured and tried. He left fingerprints on the headboard, body hair on the bed, and glass at the back door, but little else. In the early stages of the investigation, robbery was considered a possible motive for the murder. Lawmen discovered that the victim's billfold and checkbook were missing. Other of Miss Miller's possessions, some of them of obvious value, were untouched, see? However, further investigation and the autopsy revealed that robbery was at best an afterthought. See what I'm talking about? Yep. In the several days following the crime, detectives conducted a house-to-house canvass of the neighborhood. Police and sheriff's officers and representatives of the State Division of Criminal Investigation participated. The results provided a number of leads, all of which proved to be negative. One morning, half a dozen prisoners in the city jail were taken to the scene and ordered to search a field in back of Miss Miller's home. The ground was covered inch by inch. Nothing that could tie into the case was found. The fingerprints lifter at the scene of the crime were lifted from the scene of the crime, were sent to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They matched none of the thousands of sets of prints. Law enforcement departments all over the country were asked to provide any information they might have of similar crimes in the area. Hundreds of persons were questioned. Neighbors were asked if they'd seen a prowler, windows, so nothing there. The sheriff, Glenn Best, says there is no prime suspect in the case. Now we're just waiting for the right person to do something. He admits that the older a case gets, the harder it is to solve. Alright, so there you go, that's that. And so then we go to 2019. This was also in the paper. 1968, city rape murder solved. Boom. Genetic genealogy, everybody. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, here we go. In 1968, 60-year-old Gwen Miller was raped and strangled to death at her Rapid City home. Law enforcement conducted a thorough investigation at the time, dialed in on a suspect. Well, I don't know if there was an arrest made. He might not be alive, but ultimately didn't have enough evidence to press charges. The case went cool. See, even if it's after death, I think it's great because it shames the name of them forever. They might not be aware of it or anything like that, but who cares? Now, more than 50 years later, the perpetrator, who didn't seem to be on the radar of the investigators at the time, had been identified through his DNA and family tree in a process called forensic genealogy. Eugene Carroll Field raped and killed Miller when he was 25 years old in Rapid City. Detectives Wayne Keefe, that's the guy that I'm going to have on as a guest, Wayne Keefe, said at a Monday news conference, if Field hadn't died in 2009, he would be charged with first-degree murder. It changes everything to know who killed my great-aunt, said Kay Miller Temple, a 62-year-old who lives in Grand Forks. She said her family, who came from across South Dakota and as far away as Arizona to attend the news conference, is happy to have closure and wants their experience to give hope to other families with cold cases. Everything investigators learned about doing this case takes about 1,000 hours when they do it for the next case. And I think that's the thing that makes us the happiest. Police Chief Carl Rogers called the investigation historic since it's the first time a local case has been solved with DNA and genealogy. Keefe, who worked as a detective with the Rapid City Police Department for 11 years, came out of retirement. Yeah, see, that's what's cool. This guy's a retired detective. He has every single detail. In 2014, to identify cold cases for the department. He began focusing in on Miller's case in 2016 because there was evidence to analyze. What's amazing is they actually stored the semen from 1968. That's crazy Yeah, and this is from Identifinders, I believe. I think they're the ones that did this. Let's see. There were evidence to analyze people who may have information as strong suspects. Keefe called it a little surreal to finally identify the perpetrators after 51 years and 4,000 to 5,000 hours of work on his part. Let's see. All right, Miller was born in 1908, grew up on a farm in Crestport, South Dakota, and studied pharmacy and microbiology at South Dakota State College. Let's see. Miller, who was single and had no children, lived at a home she had built at 3901 Hall Street, and that's this house that we were looking at. If I now have to go to it again, but and it's weird because it's got, you know, its own unique look. All of these do. This is what I used to like about neighborhoods. There isn't one house here that looks like the other one. Now you go to these new subdivisions and there's like 3 models and they just kind of rotate them around. It sucks. Man, it's just there's no craftsmanship anymore. Like we just churn out the homes. Miller, who was single and had no children, lived in a home that she had built at 3901 Hall Street on the west side of town. She saved up money to buy a 1966 gold Chevy Sport that she kept parked in the garage, said Jim Lindgren, husband of Miller's niece, Dolores, and she planted a beautiful rose garden in the backyard. Miller Temple said her great-aunt was a very independent and confident person, especially for a single woman in the culture context of the mid-1900s. Yeah, that is pretty amazing. I was thinking about that she was, you know, the 60s, pharmacist, and built her own house and everything. Let's see. After Miller didn't show up for work February 29th, we already know that part. Miller Temple, who was in 5th grade at the time, was not told about her great-aunt died. She didn't learn what happened until she was 28. The case was investigated by the Rapid City Police and Pennington County Sheriff's Office, and it just really never led to anything. So here's the new investigation. Keefe began his investigation by reading the original investigation reports, some of which were written on onion skin paper, according to a 2016 journal story. Thank you, Lori Grant. And yes, everybody, we are on a new month, and we're still raising funds to help support my channel so I can keep doing what I'm doing. But you know, sort of the main goal is that we're also able to contribute to charities. Now it's like throughout the month, but mainly right at the end of the month, right? And we just did $500 to NCMEC. All right, Jennifer, will do. And that's true crime-related charities. We're at 26,000 this year so far. You know what I'm talking about? That's a lot, okay? Beckers was widely believed by many members of our community to have been the person that killed her. So look at, they thought that. All right, so this is what always happens. How many of these cold cases solved by genetic genealogy does it actually exonerate another person that they've always thought was the guy? I mean, I bet you 90%. They almost never say, oh yeah, he was on our radar. Keith began investigation by reading the original. Hey, thank you, Brandy Bradford. Yeah, I saw you earlier. I was getting, every time I make a comment in that other chat, I would get in trouble for it. Sorry about that. Freak! All right. Generous freak, thank you. Let's see. He spoke with Miller's surviving relatives. This is this Keefe, the detective, Wayne Keefe. He spoke with Miller's surviving relatives, the case's 4 original primary investigators and relatives. Keefe said on Monday that he interviewed more than 100 people and cleared more than 25 suspects, including Beckers. Beckers was widely believed by many members of our community to have been the person that killed her, but DNA cleared him, see? So that did help that, right? In 2018, well, how horrible is that for him? See, what if Don is like this Beckers guy? You know, there's things that make him look bad and all this shit. But what if it turns out that he didn't have anything to do with Summer being missing, which is a definite possibility? What if that's true? Man, brutal. What do you mean, huh? I'm just making a comparison. So there's a guy in this case named Beckers who had always been accused of doing something, and then he actually was cleared when they finally ran the DNA on him. In 2018, Keith sent a DNA profile collected from semen analyzed by the DCI in 2005. See, they literally collected it. I mean, you got to admit, that's incredible, right? 1968, they collected the semen and stored it properly all these years. I mean, that is insane. They should get a medal for doing that. I mean, they should be brought up to, like, bring them to the White House and give them a congressional medal of freedom or whatever the hell it is. I mean, it's that's insane to even have thought of something like that, because there wasn't even DNA. What would make you? They didn't even know that existed. Oh yeah, here we go. In 2018, Keefe sent a DNA profile collected from semen analyzed by the DCI in 2005 to Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick, a California-based scientist who specializes in forensic genealogy. And she's been on my show multiple times. We've sent them $14,500, and those are for being used in 2 cases for identifying 2 different Jane and a John Doe and probably another John Doe. Fitzpatrick analyzed the DNA profile, and she's a Y-DNA person, so it's a little different, but Fitzpatrick analyzed the DNA profile, which she described as a string of numbers, by looking at its Y-DNA, which follows male lineage. She found that the profile matched someone from Northern Europe or Britain, and after comparing it to DNA uploaded to public genealogy websites, she found it matched men from Field's family. Keefe then went to the Rapid City Library to examine Polk City. You know how interesting that must have been at that moment? To be looking, just unbelievable. Keefe then went to the Rapid City Library to examine Polk City directories, which he describes as a phone book on steroids, that lists and cross-references people's names, spouses, addresses, phone numbers, and occupations. He made a spreadsheet of everyone with the last name similar to Fields or Fields listed in the 1949 through 1975 directories, and found that only one person, Eugene Field, lived close to Miller. Keefe then interviewed people who knew Field to learn more about him. I mean, think how he's just probably going, oh my God, this is incredible. And he's just doing these interviews. And see if there was any connection to Miller. Keefe learned that Field's father was an only child from England, and that Field had 1 brother and 1 daughter. Field worked at the airport, once rented a room in a home next to Miller's, and his daughter was babysat by someone on her street. Both of his ex-wives said he was mentally and physically abusive. He did not hesitate to put bruises on them on a regular basis. Field's brother gave Keefe his DNA, and the state lab found it likely belonged to the brother of the DNA profile they had. Keefe then sent the brother and suspect's DNA to a private company, which found they had a 99.23% chance of being brothers. The two analysis ruled out the brother and father as suspects, and neither Field nor his brother had sons who could have left the DNA. He said Field has no connection to any other cold case and does not seem to have ever been a suspect in the case. Just crazy. The 1972 flood destroyed police records from the time, but documents from the Pennington County Sheriff's Office do not mention Field, Keefe said. Investigators he spoke with have no memory of Field. George Tennyson, the original lead investigator on the case for the Sheriff's Office, told the Journal he'd never heard of Field before today. Tennyson, 89, said he thought about the Miller case every day, especially whenever he had read about another rape or homicide. Man, that's just so awesome. I mean, that is just so cool. So, there you go. Amazing, huh? And this is her. Hold on a second. I've got another. Right there. That's Gwen Miller right there. That's probably a sweet lady. Pharmacist is doing her thing. You know, kicking the ass. She would have died in probably 1990. You know, she would just. And it's crazy. 30 years after she probably would have died, they've solved the case. What happened? Brandy Bradford. All right, so I guess it's my vacation time now. Here we go. This is when you guys can buy me drinks and help out the channel. Which in turn means helping out the charities at the end of the month. Yeah, isn't that insane, everybody? This case is 50, when it was solved, was 51 years old. And it was Colleen Fitzpatrick who got the name, and then there we go. Thank you, Brandy Bradford, again. And thank you, oh yeah, up there again. And also to Lori Grant. And that's all I can see. That's right, Colleen Fitzpatrick. I don't have it on rewind mode, do I?
Cheers.
Thank you, Angela Vincent. A red eye? What's in a red eye? Hey, thanks, Cammy Curry, Rita Schaefer. All right, I know what I'm gonna do next. It'll be a little bit out of order, but. Thank you, Jennifer Rochelle. Here comes the horse, everybody. Here comes the horse. Rita Schaefer. Yeah, a little expensive, but that's what we do over here, Denise. This channel actually donates a lot of money.
Red eye.
And it also needs money to keep being able to do 7 hours. I do 3 hours of show and about 4 hours of research every single day. Getting everything together. So I can't do that without, having some compensation on the channel. But unlike other channels, I donate a shitload of it. Hey, thank you,
Your favorite
Dottie Zekowitz. Zekowitz. You can't pronounce the D, right? And thank you, Quietly Frozen. So just know when you send it to the other people, it just goes into a dark hole, where this one you know you're making a difference. No matter what. Hey, Marine Co. I hate chocolate. Yeah, because we've done 26,000 this year so far. Well, 14 is in the DNA fund. Trying to give the name back to a John Doe hitchhiker, and the other one's to actually identify a body that was dismembered and put in multiple bags. That's another case. I talked about it once on a show, but I can't talk about it anymore because now they're trying to identify the body. Thanks, Tawny Lee. You know what I'm saying? Yes, thank you. And Blue's butt seems to be getting a little bit better. You talking to me? Why am I so serious?
A Thai iced tea for you, Gray.
Who are you talking to? Oh, I was just talking about Blue. Oh, don't worry, Denise. Oh, we'll be here. Yeah, the last day of the month is the big one. Oh, I don't know what happened. Is there somebody in there called the Joker? I don't even see that. Man, I must not be able, I must be blind. Thank you, Jacqueline Keeley, Lynn M, and Miss Marple. Thank you. Referencing the movie? What movie? Oh, the Joker. Oh, I see. I don't know. I'm lost. I'm not reading everything. I can't see everything you're typing. Thank you, Sandra Turner. Oh, he said that in Batman? I don't remember it. It's been so long. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. We've got 2 more to do. Thank you, TTJO Tracy. Oh, yeah? Well, thank you. The Streamlabs one link that's in the description, it goes to PayPal, and they don't take out much, and it also goes on the screen if you want to try that one. Thank you. And Linda Howell did a PayPal earlier. Thank you. Oh, by the way, apparently none of the interviews.
Last time I'm doing super chat, from now on I'm doing PayPal.
Thank you, Claudia Dubauer. Super chats are so easy for people. That's one of the things. But. Claudia Dubauer. There it is. Keep it up. Shows us the keep it up one. Gives me energy. I think there's a Streamlabs, right? Let me hold on. Try this one. Does that do something? I don't know. Does Streamlabs actually have a... There it is. Oh, wait. Oh, I don't know. That's just PayPal. There it is. Streamlabs. See that link? You could try that one. It still pops up with the same thing that YouTube does with the videos and everything. Ron Pexa. There you go, Cammy Curry. Just for you. Just for you. I think I'm going to start like doing it where we donate on the, you know, like something early in the month, then in the middle, and then at the end. But the most of it at the end. That way we're always doing something. Oh, Streamlabs work? Did it go on the screen though, or? Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you, Carolina T. Carolina T made one of the cool images behind our, on this screen right here. Right behind my head, the blue and, well, you made all of them, right? Yeah. Yeah, like you made that that one a blue too. Thanks, Beholder Vomit Face. Alright. So, now I'm going to go use the restroom. I'll be back in about, I don't know, 2 minutes. But anyways, thank you guys very much for supporting the channel. Keeping us going. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. The generous freakazoids.
You want me to?
Alright, be back in just a second, alright? Yes, ma'am, Angela. Alright, hey, thanks, Swerves. Oh, and Beholder and Carolina T. Hey, look at, I got some a tequila sunrise. Like, wow, look at, you can see through it. That's crazy, right? Look at that. Wonder why it's not blue or green. Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys watched Handmaid's Tale. That was a good season. That was probably one of the best seasons there was. It's amazing how much stuff they did in that one season. I think it's the only problem with the show is it's sort of a political thing. It's trying to, there's a lot of times where it's trying to make you think it's people on the right, you know, like, look at, they're close to being like that, you know, I mean, look at the, you know, that's what they're trying to sell on some of the shit, but especially the first few seasons. Now it seems like they're just kind of making it it's just a show now. Doesn't seem as political. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, look at all the stuff that went on. I mean, it's just unreal. I've never seen... That one was absolutely nuts. Yeah. It's on Hulu. If you haven't watched them, you got to go back and watch all the original ones and then get to where you're at. Because then you understand how she feels. It was horrendous. I don't like her that much. It's weird. Like, I don't like her. I wish there was another actress playing that same part. I don't know why. You know, it's just like... I don't know, man. I feel bad for her and stuff, but for some reason I don't like her that much. Yeah. You feel the same way? Yeah. I really like Nick. Like, Nick's a cool dude, you know. Gotta give him some credit. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Jennifer. Those faces that she makes. That's exactly right. Yeah, I think everybody has the same thought, you know. Like, it makes you wonder what in the hell, I can't even remember the husband's name, what he was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, like she just goes like... like she'll be sitting there going like this, like this. Like she has this little psycho smile and then turns into a crazy... not much, Holly. Barely any if they do. Right, come on, that was pretty good. All right, like my imitation there, other than the fact that I'm a guy with glasses and a hat and and headphones. Yeah, I agree with that. Her face, she must get paid $8 million an episode. If she's using like union rates, I mean, her face is on that screen. Yeah. All right, you guys ready to move on to these other two at the end here? One of them is one that Zoe and some other people were talking about in a couple different groups. Gray Hughes Investigates, and I think the Gray Hughes Missing Person Network. And so there's virtually no newspaper articles on this missing person. And a lot of times there aren't ones on missing people, depending on where they came from. But the Charlie Project does a pretty good write-up on it. But there was something interesting in it that those Zozo and other people picked up on. I hadn't even read it yet, but it was kind of an obvious thing that just pops in your head because we've all seen this other case. Anon. But it's like, yeah, you know. There are red trucks with white campers, okay? But how many red trucks with white campers are associated with missing people? Thanks, Anon. Well, of course, the show's going to win awards. It's a good show. I'm not really a big fan of hers, even though she does. You know, if she sucked at acting, I wouldn't like the show at all. Because she's on it almost the entire time, so she can't be terrible if you keep watching it, right? It's not like, do you guys remember Fear of the Walking Dead? Whoever the mom was on the first 5 seasons, or 3 seasons, whatever the hell it was, she was just god-awful. Oh no, look how scary that is. Oh my god, my kid died. That's terrible. I mean, she was just awful. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even try to remember their names. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is Elizabeth Ann Miller. Elizabeth was last seen jogging at 10 a.m. on August 16th, 1983, in her hometown of Idaho Springs. Oops. Okay, I've got it down here. Yeah, you didn't. Wasn't I good there though when I was acting? Ah, darn it! I tried. Hold on. Idaho Springs. Yeah, Idaho Springs, Colorado. So, Elizabeth was last seen jogging at 10 a.m. on August 16, 1983 in her hometown of Idaho Springs, Colorado. She was last seen in a park near her family's residence. Investigators believe that a male seen in the park at the same time as Elizabeth may have been seen speaking to her. The man was driving a small red 1975 or 1976 pickup truck with a white camper. So doesn't that sound familiar from another case that we've covered? And out-of-state license plates. It has not been established if the man has a connection to Elizabeth's disappearance. Her sister says a man in a pickup truck had flirted with Elizabeth. That's the other case, Morgan Nick. You remember that? She was at the ballpark with the, if you look at this right here, it's in all the recent. There's actually a documentary that was just made on this. It's going to air at some point. But there's the red truck with a white camper, and that's what that guy looked like. But the cases are 1983. This one's 1995, and this one's in a completely different area. I forgot what Alma. Where the hell? No, I actually have it in here, I think. Morgan. There it is. Morgan Nick, Arkansas, right there. So we've got that case, and it's kind of really similar sounding, but I mean a lot of abductions are, right? I remember she was at, I think it was a baseball or softball game, something like that, and her and her friends, and then somebody abducted her. And there was another similar one to that, but it didn't have a red truck. Investigators believe that a male seen at the park at the same time as Elizabeth may have been speaking to her. Elizabeth's sister says a man in a pickup truck had flirted with Elizabeth a few days before she vanished. The truck was red with a white camper shell, out-of-state license plates, and blue and black lettering, and a brown stripe on the sides. I don't know if... let's check that other one out. I don't know if it has the brown stripes on it. The man was fair-skinned and about 175 pounds, with light brown collar-length hair parted on the side. He wore prescription eyeglasses with blue-tinted photo-grade lenses and had a generally neat appearance. He said his name was Claude. He became angry after Elizabeth refused to have a conversation with him. Elizabeth disappeared shortly thereafter and has not been seen again. She did not have any cash or personal belongings with her on the day she vanished. She normally left a note for her parents. If she was going away for any length of time, she did not do so on the day of her disappearance. Elizabeth was a basketball player in 1983, and she jogged regularly to stay in shape. She is one of 7 children and was a freshman at Clear Creek Secondary School. At the time of her disappearance, she babysat to earn spending money. An unidentified Ohio man has been under investigation for several years in Elizabeth's case. Authorities believe he may have been involved in Elizabeth's presumed abduction, but he has never been charged. Well, it's weird that they mentioned in 1995 a serial killer from Mississippi claimed that he had killed Elizabeth. And that's weird because that's the same year as that other case, right? Thanks, Kit Kat. Huh. A serial killer from Mississippi claimed that he killed Elizabeth, but police did not find his story credible. Another suspect, a New Mexico man named Edward Apodaca, is deceased. He was murdered by his wife and mother-in-law in 1990. 2 independent witnesses reported they'd seen Apodaca, man, that's hard to say, talking to Elizabeth 3 days before her disappearance while they were sitting in a red or rust-colored pickup truck with a camper shell. Wow, that's crazy. Thanks, Kit Kat, and on and on. So that one sounds like a pretty good one. I mean, it does have that type of vehicle, right? Let's see. A license plate with some matching numbers was later found on his property. His former girlfriend claimed she had helped him bury Elizabeth in the mountains near Idaho Springs. 3 cadaver dogs indicated the presence of human remains in the place the girlfriend indicated, but police excavations turned up no evidence. Elizabeth's family, I wonder if she was moved later. However, that Apodaca was in fact involved in Elizabeth's case. That sounds like a really good suspect. In 1995, a woman police picked up in Tampa, Florida, claimed to be Elizabeth. Elizabeth's parents flew to Florida to meet the woman, but she turned out to be someone else. Possible evidence relating to Elizabeth's case was found in Empire, Colorado in 1994. Some bone fragments, a piece of fabric similar to canvas, and a single blonde hair was found buried near Interstate 70. The bone fragments have never been identified. Police do not even know if they're human. The fabric was very degraded and appeared to have been buried for a long time. In 2004, the police sent the hair to the FBI for tests. They hope to conclusively link the hair to Elizabeth's case. Well, that's a long time ago. Haven't they done it yet? Elizabeth's family had her declared legally deceased in 1994. A grand jury investigated her disappearance in 2007, but the jury disbanded in November of that year without any indictments. Yeah. Crazy. See if there's anything different in this thing. Elizabeth Ann Miller, more commonly known as Beth, was last seen in Idaho Springs, Colorado, August 16th, 1983. She disappeared while she was on her morning jog at 10 a.m. She has never been seen or heard from again. Investigators do not believe that Beth left on her own. She left all her personal belongings. Authorities were hoping to locate a man for questioning in Beth's case. He was apparently seen in the park. Well, see, the thing is, they already got the guy. He had the right truck and everything. Nuts. Let's see. 2 witnesses came forward and stated they had seen Apadaga talking to Beth approximately 3 days before she disappeared. They were inside of the red pickup truck with the camper shell. License plates were New Mexican, and a matching license plate with the numbers was later found on his property. His former girlfriend, Viola Moya, would go on to claim that she assisted Edward in burying Elizabeth's body in the mountains near Idaho Springs. The area she indicated was searched along with cadaver dogs. They did detect the presence of human remains in the area, but none were found during the search. After her statements, Viola was officially listed as a suspect in Beth's disappearance, and investigators believe she knew a lot more about Beth's murder than she had confessed to them. They believe she may have been in the truck with Apodaca and Beth when he assaulted her and killed her. That's a little bit more than that last article. Investigators still consider now they're spelling it differently. See, now it's Apodkada, a strong suspect in the case, and her family believes that he was in fact responsible for Beth's murder. Investigators believe they might have solved the case in '85 when a woman claimed to be Beth. Yeah. Alright, well anyways, that one, it was kind of interesting because you had the 2 cases. I don't think they're related at all, but could be. I mean, it's interesting. You have 2 people that were abducted with a red pickup with a white camper shell. That's what they're, I didn't come up with it. It was on one of my Facebook pages, and Zozo and some other people were noticing that, but I probably would have thought, wow, is this that case that from... I wouldn't have remembered the name, though. Yeah. The park case? Yeah, we were just talking about it's the... Morgan Nick case. Alright, so that one is... There's almost no newspaper article. None, actually. Well, she was mentioned in one article where they were listing 3 other girls that were missing in a general area. But that would have opened up a whole nother can of worms, right? Alright, so we got the last one here is 1978. Leslie Barker. I don't know if somebody emailed me this one or how I got this one. I think it was an email. Yeah, so here we go. Is that too loud, that music? There we go. A body of a woman was found this morning in the back seat of a burned out car in a wooded area off Mentor Road. Let's find that one. Let me make the folder. See, these cases will never be discussed, so I'm trying to get them out there, at least something. I mean, unfortunately, you can't go back and change their name to Wells or something where everybody will be really excited to discuss it. I don't know, man. Everybody deserves something. It just gets really frustrating sometimes it's like, what makes one case? Why do you keep saying, huh, Charles Godwin? It's starting to bother me a little bit. You say it all the time. It's just over and over. Endlessly. Huh? Huh? Oh, man. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what it's for. I mean, here's the thing is, it's just this thing where it's an internet sensation on social media that then bleeds into the actual media. It's wild. That's right, Rita. I'm so mean. Huh? Yeah. Well, if you thought you missed something, type in, did I miss something? Huh doesn't help anybody even know what you're talking about. Yeah, what's the secret sauce, you know? I think what it is when there's video and audio of some element somewhere. Cash Gurnan, you have the surveillance footage. Summer Wells, you have all the TikTok videos. Chris Watts, unfortunately, having to say his name again. That one had all those videos from Thrive that Shanae made, right? Jodi Arias had all the images off the camera and all kinds of stuff, and she was nuts. There was almost always something like that, really. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the truth is the Watts case was the most uninteresting case there ever was. But they just couldn't let it drop. It was like, ooh, we got something here. We can twist. There's so much stuff we can just twist around into all kinds of things. We can make 1,000 videos. We can cover it every single day for 7 months. And we could just... years even. Which case are you talking about? Huh? Huh? Huh, Zozo? Yeah, come on, Charles Godwin. You got me. That's the second time you said it, though, so I was like, man, am I just not saying anything that made sense tonight, or what? Okay, so this is in Mentor Road in Akron, Ohio. Mentor Road, Akron, Ohio. Yeah, I'm just on to a different one now. So this is Mentor Road. I'll just put a pin here. All right. That sounds like a YouTube channel name there, Tracy. I think that's what it should be called. Right? Let's see. The body of a woman was found this morning in the back seat of a burned-out car in a wooded area off Mentor Road in northwest Akron. Police said the car was registered to Leslie A. Barker, 28, of 5... There we go. 570 Tamiami. I think I've already been here, actually. I think I've got something already. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's it right here. There we go. That's it right there. So where did I put this then? Hold on. Okay. So we can go down and take a look at this house here. This is where she lived. Looks like a pretty nice house back here. Although it was 1978. That looks like that could be from that time though. Who was believed to be the victim. The body was burned beyond recognition, and the Summit County Coroner's Office said dental records would have to be used to make positive identification, and autopsy was being conducted to determine the cause of death. Look at, here's the vehicle right there. I actually have a picture of it. Miss Barker, a teacher, lived with her parents, Dr. and Mrs. H. Kenneth Barker. Barker is Barker is Dean of the College of Education at the University of Akron. We are investigating on the basis that it is a homicide. Police said the parents told them they had not seen their daughter since she left home at about 9 p.m. Wednesday to go to Red's, a singles bar and disco at 1027 East Waterloo. All right. 1027 East Waterloo. Oh man, it looks like it's a strip place now or something. Not that I know what they look like. Let's see. Red's, a singles bar. Okay. So let me put Red's. Okay. They usually have good steaks there, though, you know? That's what they say. They always say crap like, oh, they make good steaks there. Oh, yeah, okay, so that's why you're there for the steak? Oh, no, by the way, there's... Okay. Detectives said they learned that Miss Barker was seen leaving Red's shortly after 1 a.m., so we could put that here. 1 a.m. But they have not determined if she left alone. Arnold Red Shapiro, owner of Red's, said he remembers seeing Miss Barker in his lounge at about 11 or 11:30. She was just listening to the music, he said. He said she had just been coming to Red's about once a week over the last month. She was very nice girl, Shapiro said. Police said she reportedly planned to meet a girlfriend at the lounge, but it was not known if she did. Hey, thanks, Dean K. Reck. Long day at the river, 89 degrees in the background. Sweet. Miss Barker was in her third year as a special education teacher at Hotchkiss Elementary School, where she taught 17 students ages 11 through 14 who are slow learners. She was at school Wednesday. So she probably lived with her parents then. I think that's what it said, right? Yeah, so that's her parents' house. I was wondering how she got that really nice house.
Had long day at river, 89 degrees in background, love you freaks.
There is no Rose-Bly connection. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There isn't one. Yeah, there's no Rose-Bly connection to any of this. Miss Barker was in her third year as a special education teacher. Okay, police and fire department officials said only the torso of the body was found in the car. The 1977, so just her torso was found. But I wonder if it just got burnt too badly. The 1977 Pontiac Grand Prix was destroyed in the inferno. Everything that could burn did burn. Arson investigators Ron Finnery said a car is not burned that quickly unless something was used to start the fire. The car apparently was doused with a flammable liquid, then set on fire, Finney said. Investigators recovered a 1-gallon metal can from the car's trunk, but did not know if it was involved in the fire. The car was found on a muddy lane in the wooded area off Mentor Road next to Akron, Canton, and the railroad tracks. Okay, so now we can find that. That's where the bar was, but she lived up here. And now we just have to find the... And there we go. Those are train tracks. I'm just going to see if there's any others that loop around some... No. So I bet they're right here. Thanks, and on and on. On and on. The scene is only about a mile from Miss Barker's home. Mentor Road now dead ends at the tracks, although new homes are being built in the area north of Memorial Park. The scene is only about a mile from Miss Barker's home. Thank you, and on and on. Firemen were called at 5:50 a.m. by Robert Vandal
Bacon snacks for puppies.
of 635 Mentor Road. Okay, so maybe this will give us an indication how close that was. 635 Mentor Road. Oh, so it's down here. What the hell was he doing down here? Oh, that's Mentor Road. Never mind. It's over here. Hold on. I think I got the wrong spot. So the railroad tracks come down like this. There we go. Boom. That's the dead end. I have the wrong... I thought that was Mentor Road right there, but it's not. Right there. Boom. And that's dead end. That's exactly the spot. Scott Hall, hope you're able to golf. I'm probably going to try.
Hope you are able to golf. Golf flag. Golfer. Tomorrow with 5 birdies
I'll
and
try.
shoot a 67 goat.
I'll
Of
give it
true
a
crime
shot.
investigations.
So the car was found right here, basically. Burning. Right at the end of this... I mean, look at that. It's right in this area, apparently. Now there's homes there, but there wasn't any back then. I wonder if we go... Well, they were just building them already. So that even if we go back in time to 19... See, there's homes being built there. Now it looks like this. A lot more stuff going on. Thank you, Scott Holland. Oh, there it is. 5 birdies, 67 score. I don't think so, but you know, you never know. Could get lucky. So they were called at 5:50 a.m. by Robert Vandal of 635 Mentor Road. His wife, Eloise, said she and her husband were awakened by 3 loud explosions. Her husband looked out the window, saw the fire, and called the fire department. Police said the explosions may have been the tires bursting. Firemen put out the fire, then found the body. The area is quiet neighborhood with brick streets, huge trees, and well-kept homes. But Miss Vandal said the area where the car was found had become Lover's Lane. Yeah, you could see that's probably what that was. Yeah. The dead end right there, right by the railroad tracks. Let's see. Police and firemen found the woman's charred remains in the back seat of her fire-gutted 1977 Pontiac, only a mile from her home. The car was apparently had been doused with a flammable liquid before it burst into flames. Wednesday night was one of Miss Barker's evenings out, and she spent about 4 hours of it from 9 a.m. to shortly before 1 a.m. at Red's popular Waterloo Road nightclub. She sat right over there, said bartender George Shapiro, pointing to the southwest end of the lounge, long, oval-shaped bar. So that's Red's. So it must have been like a bar over here in that corner. Look at that, they drove into the parking lot. I'm sure that's probably exactly what it looked like back then. Looks like they've just cleaned it up a little bit. Now it's something else. Now she sat right over there. Leslie was wearing a bright red outfit. She and some other girls sat right there for just about the whole time they were here, he said. They got up a couple of times to dance or go to the bathroom or whatever, but they always came back. There were a couple of guys that came over and talked to them for a while. Shapiro, who is the son of Red's owner, Arnold Red Shapiro, said Miss Barker was one of his classmates at Firestone High School. I didn't know her very well then, said Shapiro. About all I can tell you is her hair used to be longer. About 6 months ago, she came in and I thought I recognized her. She talked a little bit, and when she came in after that, usually about once a week, we'd say hi. She was a real nice girl. Let's see, she said hi and talked a little bit more, then that's about all. She was a real nice girl. She always seemed to be very pretty, good mood, and she never seemed to drink too much. Last night she only had a couple of screwdrivers, vodka and orange juice before she left. I didn't even see her leave. I just looked over and she was gone. Shapiro described Miss Barker as a typical customer. This is a big place, a lot of people, he said. She wasn't that noticeable. She was another face in the crowd. I always said hi to her. She seemed very nice. I was sick, upset all day when I heard what happened. Shapiro said Miss Barker's death was the subject of many questions at his nightclub Thursday. It's mostly of the regulars who asked about her, he said. They wanted to know more about it. If I knew any details, I don't. All I know is that it's a shame, an awful shame. Reached after the tragedy, Hodgkins principal Thomas Royce and co-worker of Miss Barker spoke highly of her work at the school. She was a very good teacher. Yep, it just sucks. This is back in April 1978. They tried to do roadblocks. Those didn't work. But no new clues were uncovered. Miss Barker's badly charred body was found in the back seat. It's almost like the killer probably raped her, assaulted her, and then set the car on fire to cover up any forensic evidence. The only problem is it's 1978, and maybe left fingerprints all over the place. Who knows? But man, it's a freaking nightmare. Miss Barker was last seen at about 2:45 a.m. leaving. Now it's 2:45 a.m. leaving Red's, a singles bar and disco. The Summit County coroner has yet to rule on whether Miss Barker was dead before the fire broke in the car. Despite the way they would find that out would be if she had soot in her lungs. That means she breathed in smoke, and she was most likely still alive when the fire was going. Barris said the investigation will actively continue until all leads develop through interviews with friends. Okay, about 2 weeks later. Well, now we're like 3 weeks later. Look at that. Airplane fuel is suspected. That's kind of a weird, odd thing right there. Akron police and arson investigators say a high-octane gasoline, like the type used in airplanes, was used to douse the car in which Leslie A. Barker's body was found the morning of April 6th. Major Philip Barnes, head of the Akron Detectives Bureau, said many persons have access to airplane fuel, and detectives cautioned that the preliminary ruling made after a series of tests at the state fire marshal's laboratory in Columbus does not implicate a boyfriend of Miss Barker who works at the Akron Canton Airport. It is kind of interesting. Barnes said the boyfriend, a 30-year-old North Canton man, how old was she? I can't remember now. Hold on. .28, so that's pretty normal. Does not work near the fuel pumps. The boyfriend was cleared as a suspect. Well, who cares if he doesn't work? I'm just saying that he works near the pump. The friend was the last known person to see Miss Barker. He told police he said goodnight to her at 2:45 a.m., about 3 hours before her body was found. So he is the last person. Wait, no, the friend. Let's see. Suspect. Okay. Few clues have turned up in the apparent killing, despite what Sergeant Gandy called one of the department's most exhaustive probes. The intense heat of the fire nearly burned Miss Barker's body beyond recognition. Firefighting efforts obliterated any clues at the scene, detectives said. But new leads continue to develop through interviews, Barnes said. Summit County Coroner A.H. Kyriakidis. How come you never get an easy name on these things? Kyriakidis probably will rule Wednesday on the cause of Miss Barker's death, his investigator James Crano said Monday. A few residents near the Mentor Road Royal Street intersection told police they heard a car idle and then drive away sometime between 3 and 3:30 a.m. So it makes you think there was two cars then, right? Two people probably then, because somebody would have had to drive the other vehicle, unless the person just, I guess, could have left on foot. But 3:30 a.m. Miss Barker's body was found 2 blocks away on a lover's lane, but nobody looked out their windows at the idling car. Detectives said Miss Barker left a bar at about 2:45 a.m. and was probably driving to her home in northwest Akron when she was killed. Miss Barker lived with her parents on that trail that we showed you earlier. Summit County Coroner A.H. Kyriakidis said he still is awaiting the results of laboratory tests to determine the cause of death of Leslie Ann Barker. He also is awaiting for a report from arson investigators. Miss Barker's body was found in her burned car the morning of April 6th on a lover's lane. Alright, we got this one. Victim died in car fire. Leslie Barker the 28-year-old teacher, whose body was found April 6th in the burned-out shell of her car in northwest Akron, was still alive. I mean, this makes it much worse, right? Was still alive when fire consumed the car, according to official ruling released Thursday. But Dr. Kyriakidis said it was impossible to determine whether Miss Barker was conscious at the time of the fire. I'm going to say no. Dr. Kyriakidis ruled the death a homicide by asphyxiation. That's interesting. Wonder what asphyxiation by fire in the burned car, is that it? There were no indications that Miss Barker was sexually abused or well, how would you know that? She was burned almost beyond belief. Suffered any other injuries, but injuries could not be totally ruled out by Dr. Kyriakidis said. The coroner said any injuries would have have been severe to be detected in the autopsy because the body. Oh, there you go. See, that proves you I don't read these things. It's in the next sentence. All right. Because the body was badly burned condition, that's why they weren't able to tell. The ruling appeared to provide no clue in the Akron police stalled investigation of the death. Detectives have followed dozens of leads, but come up with few clues. Police said there are no solid suspects. Miss Barker was found in the early morning hours on a lover's lane off of Mentor Road, a few blocks from her home. And here's the car again. So she's probably in there right now. You know, her body's sitting, and that's what they're looking at. And then, I don't know, this came out just yesterday. Who killed Leslie Barker after 43 years? Akron teacher slaying remains a mystery. Oh, look at that. Oh, let's see if we can pin that exactly. So that's the car. I hadn't even looked at this yet. So let's see if we can find that exact, because I guarantee if that house is still there. Has to be. Oh wait, the tracks are... Oh, that's weird. So the tracks are running... I don't think you can see it the way they have this. Because they have the tracks like this. See? The car is actually... kind of like I would say out here, kind of. But then, what house are they looking at? Is it like that, or? Let's try it. Leslie Barker in Akron. She was searching for love, they said. Leslie Barker, an Akron school teacher, went to a nightclub on April 1978 to try out a new computerized matching activity. The next morning, Barker charred remains, computerized in 1978, were found in the back of her burned car about a mile from her house. The Summit County coroner ruled Barker was killed by asphyxiation. Her lungs indicated she was alive when the fire was set, though the coroner couldn't determine if she was conscious. Her remains were so badly burned that he also couldn't tell if she'd been sexually assaulted. Detectives interviewed several men the 28-year-old Barker had dated, including one she'd met at the matchmaking event. See, that's interesting. Because now you're looking at one of those weird, those kind of a typical scenarios. They volunteered for hypnosis and polygraph, and past detectives weren't able to determine, like a Craigslist type of thing, right? Weren't able to determine who was responsible for Barker's violent death. There's no physical evidence, Detective James, Pashalik said. Can you just have your names be Johnson from now on? Nothing that the car fire fueled by an accelerant made the recovery of evidence difficult. There's nothing that puts anybody anywhere. More than 40 years later, detectives remain stumped, and Barker's colleagues and friends are disappointed the case remains unsolved. It was like this person is going to get away with this, said Sandy Shaw, who was a counselor at the school where Barker taught. You kept waiting to hear something, and nothing. Now, it looks like there's a 24-minute long podcast episode on that case on this link, the Beacon Journal, if you guys want to look at that later. For Barker, teaching was her blood. Kenneth Barker, her father, was the Dean of College of Education at the University of Akron. In 1978, she was in her third year as a special education teacher at Hotchkiss, a school that has since closed and the building sold. She enjoyed her job and working with her students. She loved what she did. Barker took her kids on field trips. Barker had no one special in her life, but not for the lack of trying. She went out with friends once a week, often frequenting Red's on Waterloo Road, a popular dance club in the era of disco. In the spring of 1978, Red's was offering patrons another reason to come. Selectrocution, an early version of online dating that matched up bar patrons. As teachers filtered out of the Hotchkiss parking lot after the school day on April 5th, Barker and another teacher invited Shaw to go out with them that night to Red's, but Shaw was divorced with 2 little ones at home and didn't let her hair down on weeknights. No, you guys go ahead, Shaw recalls telling her friends. I'll hear about it in the morning. A bartender at Red's that night recalls seeing Barker and her friends sitting at the end of a long oval-shaped bar when they weren't dancing. George Shapiro, the son of the bar's owner, who knew Barker from Firestone, told the Beacon Journal in 1978 that Barker and her friends stayed about 4 hours, he recalled. She was a real nice girl. On this night, he said he served her 2 screwdrivers, a mixed drink, so that's all in those newspaper clippings. Victim found in the auto that had been set on fire. A few hours later at 5:50 a.m., a residence on Mentor Road in West Akron called the fire department after he and his wife were awakened by 3 loud explosions. They looked outside and saw flames in the darkness. Firefighters and police arrived at a wooded area near Mentor Road, an access road that ran alongside the railroad, shielded by trees and others, and often used as Lover's Lane, to find a burning 1977 orange Grand Prix. Is that actually the vehicle? Yeah, there's the hood up. And the trunk. Yeah, that looks like it's it. I have to work on that a little bit, see if I can find that. After firefighters extinguished the fire, they found a body in the back seat. The license plate led detectives to the Barker home a few blocks away. That morning, Shaw stopped by the teacher's lounge to get a report on the trip to Red's from Barker, only to find out she hadn't shown up for work. Shaw wasn't concerned until she heard on the radio about a burned car with a body inside. Later that day, Principal Thomas Royce confirmed Shaw's fear Barker was dead. I couldn't believe it, Shaw said. That was one of the most horrible crimes. It was more than I could imagine. Someone being that cruel. Police search for answers. The initial police investigation focused on a man Barker met at Red's that night before her murder. He was 30 years old, lived in North Canton, and worked for the United Airlines at Akron Canton Airport. He told detectives he met Barker through the electrocution dating activity and made plans to go out with her Friday night, but first Barker offered to drive him to her home so he knew where it was. After that, he said, she drove him back to his parked car at Red. Oh man, that's really dodgy. Are you kidding? I mean, this guy right here is... I mean, I'm not just throwing this out here. This guy right here, you'd have to put him at the top of the list. Don't you think? I mean, this is just... He was suspicious before. You know, the jet fuel was used. Oh, we didn't access to the pumps, right? And then it's one of these stupid-ass dating things. And hell, we don't even know if they got along at all. And he drives her all... Oh, give me a break. And she drove him. Now he throws it all on her to... Like, oh yeah, I had to get in her car because she had to take me to his house to view the, where she lives because we got a date coming up. Right? And then she took me all the way back to Red's. Well, how about this, clown? You probably walked back to Red's after that. I bet you that guy... How far is Red's from there? Well, it's probably pretty far, right? I mean, well, let's see. No, it's not far. Well, it's across town. Let's see. Yeah, it's 6 miles. I don't know. I mean... 6 miles is 6 miles. It's not really that far in reality. You gotta admit, though, right? That's crazy. Look at this. Okay, first of all, the car was burnt with jet fuel. He was 30 years old, lived in North Canton, and worked for the United Airlines at Akron Canton Airport. He told detectives he met Barker through the electrocution dating activity. Just like one of those stupid... Craigslist ads that people used to go date, the dating ads that you'd put it in the paper. He told detectives he met Barker through the electrocution dating activity and made plans to go out with her Friday night. Now he's saying, wow, we got along so great. But first Barker offered to he says that Barker offered to drive him to her home so he knew where it was. I mean, who does that, right? After that, he said, she drove me back to his parked car at Red's. Before they parted, he recalled asking if he should lock the passenger side door. Now he's really protective. Boy, I was really... I don't know. Let's see if there's something that exonerates this guy. That's horrendous, okay? He couldn't remember how she replied or whether he locked it. Before they parted, he recalled asking... Hey, should I lock the passenger side door? Listen, everybody, I'm really concerned with their safety. I remember saying that, even though she's now moving. He said he and Barker drove away from the bar in separate cars at 2:45 a.m. So that's why we get to the 2:45. Yeah. Here's what's weird. Remember they said that she left the bar at 1? So now there's an hour and 45 minutes. I bet you he walked back to that bar. And he just got in his car and he drove it away in case somebody saw him driving. Well, I don't know. I drove away my car there. I didn't, if you didn't see hers, I'm sorry about that. Right about, you get what I'm saying? Wow. Man, that's crazy. The man offered to take a lie detector test and passed it twice. Oh, there you go. If he passed the lie detector test and he offered to take it, that means he knew, Those detectives talked to a polygraphed several other men Barker had dated, but found no one who raised their suspicion. But they did learn it wasn't unusual for Barker to drive... Okay, this might be something that helps the guy. Let's see. But they did learn it wasn't unusual for Barker to drive a new friend or prospective date to her home so they could find it later. Because it was... But see, those are people she'd already met and things like that, right? This is a weird one because it's a guy at a bar through some weird dating thing. So, I guess it helps him out in that part of the story regarding that she would do that. And they learned Barker was familiar with the path. Let's see. Fine. Was off the beaten path. But they did learn it wasn't unusual for Barker to drive a new friend or prospective date to her home so they could find it later because it was off the beaten path. And they learned Barker was familiar with the path where her burned car was found, as she used it as a private hangout with friends in her younger days. Right, but what if she literally went there with that guy? I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense. God. Oh man. Here, let me take you over here and I'm gonna drive. I mean, that part I guess she's saying that's happened. Hang out with friends in her younger days. Police set up roadblocks along the route Barkley likely took from red stopping cars. They turned up no leads. A few weeks after Barker's murder, the State Fire Marshal Office determined her car had been doused with an unusual fuel. It was reported at the time that the fuel was a high octane commonly used in airplanes, which brought to mind the man Barker met on... I mean, what are the odds of that? That she randomly meets a guy at a bar, you know. And I think they must have been set up, and that's why they met there, because it must have been like a telephone thing where, oh, electrocution, you know. It wasn't set up there. It was like that's where they were going to meet. And so what are the odds that she then gets burnt with jet fuel, and the guy that she meets there works at an airline, and he got in her car with her, drove all the way to her house. Man, that is just... Come on. See, like, this stuff here is way more damning than anything that I've heard so far in the Summer Wells case. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, this stuff right here is... Whoa! Okay? It's crazy. A few weeks after Barker's murder, the State Farm... Okay, we got that. Accelerant wasn't... Wait. Hold on. Today, detectives say... Oh, that was a red herring. Oh, okay. Well, that... You know... We're on to the next paragraph. So as this article said, which brought to mind the man Barker met the night before the death. Today, detectives say that was a red herring and that the report was misinterpreted. They said the man Barker met worked at an airline counter and didn't have access to fuel pumps. Besides, they said the accelerant wasn't airplane fuel. Well, there you go. That one, now we got to throw that one out. He's still looking bad, though, you guys. He's at the bar. He's definitely the last person to be with her. But we got to take that part out now. All right, so now he just went, you know, he got a little help there. Shit. That's hilarious. That's a pretty big red herring, though, don't you think? Well, it's jet fuel. Guy worked at the damn... I was wondering where he worked there. Now it sounds like he works at the counter. Yeah, but you got to admit, it is... He's meeting her there, and he goes to her house. And then apparently, like right after that, 2 hours later, she's dead. How did somebody get into her car? He's in her car. He places himself in there. I don't know. So a couple things have helped him out a little bit here. That's where I was going though with that information. He has a pass he can get in. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean he does work there, right? But they did say they weren't sure. They said it wasn't jet fuel. Let's see what the rest says. However, Lieutenant Dave would not say what type of fuel it was used. Would only call it unusual. Huh. So it's still an unusual fuel. It's the key to the whole thing, Whidden said on the fuel. It's like the weapon they chose. Though they can't point to it. Why don't they tell people what that was? You know, maybe somebody would come forward and say, oh yeah, this guy used to use that all the time. See, that's one of those things where they need to cut. You know, this is 50 years, or what are we at now on this one? 3 years. Why don't they just come forward with what kind of fuel that was? I mean, what could it hurt now? Maybe somebody did it and thought, oh shit, now what am I going to do? I have to go to my house and get the accelerant. Or maybe there was another car and they pulled up. Though they can't point to a suspect, the detectives agree that Barker's killer knew her. Well, there you go. That's the guy. I think he could. I mean, he did get helped out by a couple of those statements, but he's just right there. He places himself in the car. And it was the first time they met. Maybe he was out there. He wanted to have sex right away, and she didn't want to. And then, you know, I mean, it's weird that she was found in a place that she knew. Maybe they went there first, and they were just going to kind of, I don't know. What are you guys thinking on this one? God, it's wild. Maybe somebody did it and thought, oh shit, now what am I going to do? If there was a second car, there was no sign of it. The effort to put out the car fire obliterated any trace of footprints. 4 decades after Barker's murder, detectives aren't any closer to solving the case than the original investigators. This is as cold as you get, Whidden said. If you have any information, call 330-996-3705. Alright, I'm just going to try for a minute to try to find this, the precise location. I'm still really suspicious of the person she met at the bar, even though we don't know what the fuel was, right? How about you guys? I mean, he's the best person that they've talked about. Looked like they had a lot of images. I know he mentioned he put himself in the car. Like, why did he admit to that if he was the person? I don't know. So what if it was on this side? Maybe. Wait, so it'd be like this. I guarantee you that house is still there. So I'm looking at this house right back here. And it looks like a road ends and then it's like down the side of the tracks here. So it would be something like this is the road and then it came down here. And then I guess that would be the house then. That doesn't really, let me see, hold on. Yeah, it doesn't look like that. Yeah, it's almost like she drove down and then back in the day you could turn. Yeah, so I think the car is like right in here. And maybe it's seeing a house that's right there. Let's see if this house has changed. That actually looks like that could be this. Just that, the whole angle and everything. So let me see if it's changed over the years. Well, there's nothing there. Okay, that one definitely looks like that could be it. See how it has the top and then a little bit more coming off to the side. That's just what that is. Okay, now if it's changed dramatically since then, crap, can't see it. But that's the same one I was just looking at. No, I think that is it. Yeah, that is it. It just looks. Let me go to. Can I go to the very end here? One more step. Yeah, look. I think that might be it. See, notice the right there. Can you guys see that? That little line, that garage door right there. That's right there. And then above, you got the single window right there. This one. Then you have that extra little roof there, just like that. Okay. I think that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Boo! I'm going to give myself one. That's it. So, that's it. That means the car is found at the end of the street and then down here a little bit, right there. That's what I'm talking about. Right there. See? All right. Well, you guys, that's it. Hope you guys found those interesting. I don't really have any more to dig into on that one, but I might go check out that 24-minute podcast on that one link. Might be pretty interesting. All right. So anyways, thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Sorry for the, well, not really sorry, but if you came here for Summer Wells, I apologize for not covering it for you. Although I'm not really apologizing, I'm just doing what I want to do, but how many dislikes do we have at this point? 50 something or? I'm hoping to get a few more before the end of the show. Oh, that's it? 44? Come on, you guys. You can do better than that. You guys can do better than that. Don't forget to hit that like button really quick, though, right? For those of you that are here, might as well. Well, if you hit like again, it turns it to negative. It gets rid of it. Thank you. So is that last name Zekowitz? Is that right? I think we talked about this once before. Yes, everybody hit that like button. For those of you who are still here,
I'm fired out of it now.
Hit that like button, 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 hit the like button, hit the like button, 20, 25, 30, 25, 40, hit the like button, 20, 25.
You want to put 30, sir? 25 of them, you're out. I'm 25, 30, 30, now 5. I'm 30.
Yeah, I'd like to get up a little higher than 44 if you guys could. It's just an engagement. It just means that you interacted with the show. Thank you. So for you trolls out there hitting the dislike, you're actually helping my channel out. So go ahead and hit that again. I'd appreciate it. Oh, I got a bunch of trolls. Well, if you don't worship on the altar of the interview room, you're just hated by the masses because they know so much more than everybody else. Even though a lot of us have a similar person as a person that possibly could have committed the crime and has a higher likelihood than other people, if you don't say what they think, if you don't believe that Don was sitting in the shed, you know, the shed that he had 30 minutes to not be in, then you're a heretic, you know? An absolute heretic. You've got to worship on the altar. Oh yeah. Well, it's not going to happen, you guys. It's not going to happen. I'm going to just do what I do. If I see something I think is sensationalistic or bullshit, I'm going to tell you about it. And I think it's total bullshit to say that Don was in the shed when you were given permission to look in the shed and you didn't look in the shed. Then you claim that Candace was calling Don inside of a store. She very well may have been calling him, but we don't know where Don was at the time. And then you say, oh, she bought 2 pizzas, so she obviously bringing them there. The TV was on, so therefore Don was watching it, and he was hiding in the shed. Well, listen, if she called from into town, and it's a 20-minute drive, and she normally drives 40, takes 40 minutes, then that means Don had 20 minutes to just get in his car, go get a McDonald's somewhere, do whatever. You think he's going to be hiding in the shed, looking out that crack at the... It's just... And Candace was going to let her go there. And where was his truck, by the way? God. I thought these guys were like high-end detectives and shit. That's right, Charles. Maybe that. Or turning the voter, yes, year. Turning the voter, I don't know what that means. 214 to 45, all right. Okay, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for showing up. Let me get to the... Oh yeah, I gotta thank some people from last night. It was pretty cool. I played the premiere of the entire show last night. And then people actually sent in super chats. So it's kind of a good way to raise funds again, too, right? It all part of the same thing anyways. And there's people in other parts of the country that want to watch the show and communicate with people. So I've thought of doing that. You know, not regularly, but I don't know. I think a lot of people had fun doing it. I checked in after about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you know, there's just people chatting up a storm, having a good time. And oh, is that what turning the voters means? Oh, I see. I wasn't sure what that meant. You're turning them. You mean like the people with buyer's remorse with the guy we got in there? Yeah. A lot of people with buyer's remorse. Tell you that right now. I hear it all the time. Yeah, it looks like I've lost some subscribers tonight too. But see, I don't care, okay? Because listen, if you want to unsubscribe based on what I said earlier, then I don't even want you around. Do you understand that? because I get to say what I want to say, and I believe what I'm saying. And if you don't believe in it, then that's great. Okay, that's great. But I'm not going to change what I'm going to say because, oh my God, somebody laughed. Oh boy. Just isn't going to happen. Hope so. Milster. Why? Are you going to show up there, Milster? I hope I get to play tomorrow. I hope my foot's... It felt better, and then now it's sort of a little sore on the bottom, but that little brace thing you wear at night feels pretty good. It's been like 80s, 90s and stuff like that lately. And golf's more... For me, it's... I want to do well. I'm having a hard time relaxing. You know, I'm trying to play well. You know, I'm not there for the scenery. I'm there to shoot a good score. That's where, I guess that's where I'm a little different. But yeah, you know, when you're playing good and you can't miss a shot, I guess it is pretty relaxing at that point. Let's see. I don't know when these ones came in. Oh yeah, there we go. All right.
Make you show God love.
Bring around the rose.
Band-aid for your foot.
Thank you. From last night, the Zozo. Shay. Lori Speakman with a cat eye. Shayo. Cat white.
All right, and those were people who actually sent super chats in on the premiere last night. Pretty crazy, eh? Pretty cool. Awesome.
LM. Cairo. Lori Staggs. LM. Golly Golly. Billy Lake. Texas Queen of Sass. Tracy Nixa. Juju Positive. Mr. Matt. Sandy Rhodes. Beholder. Michelle Nicholas. Kathy Friday Maker. Chris Petrie. Patreon. Chris Petrie. Holly Harris. Cindy Lynn. Lori Grant. Randy Bradford. Angela Vincent. Kenny Curry. Rita Schaefer. Jennifer Risha. Dottie Zikowitz. Quietly Frozen. Maureen Coe. I Hate Chocolate. Connie Lee. Miss Marple. Lynn N. Jacqueline Keeley. Holly. Sandra Turner. TTJO Tracy. Claudia Neubauer. Carolina T. Beholder. Slurps. Anon. Kit Kat. Anon. Jessica Schubach. D&K Reck. Anon. Scott Holland.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah? Why? What's wrong with Zozo? What happened? I know she wasn't feeling well. Bronchitis or something. But anyways, all right, you guys. Thank you very much. We will see you guys tomorrow in the evening. Probably be a call-in show. You can call in and talk about your true crime experiences. I thank you all for showing up tonight. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm just trying to give you my takes on different things. Like I've said 1,000 times, I mean, we're all grateful for all the interviews and stuff that the interview room and Chris are providing, you know, for people to be talking about. But I think the accusatory nature is a little much, okay? Because it's very possible that Don has nothing to do with it. Okay? That is possible. I'm saying, you know, the odds are that he or Candace have something to do with it, but I think it's okay to mention that you shouldn't be doing that. All right? So thank you guys very much, and we will see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector.
What's going on, Ray? Why are you hitting the thunderbolts?
Nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, enemy of an aspector with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to it. All right, everybody? Talk to you.
And I defeat it. And in my groove, when there's a troll on the move, just takes a second to cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye, I see you creeping on the fly. Why you think you're so fly? You're such a whiny cry. Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify.
I don't compute. So if you lie, everything you say is a lie.
and you're lying right now, then that means you're telling the truth, but everything you say is a lie. I don't compute, I don't compute, I don't compute. Hey, Timmy, go to bed, okay?
Yeah, me too, Mary Lou. See you later, Mary Lou.
Yeah, see you later, John Boy. Gee. Thanks for saying goodnight to me, Jessica Schubach. Jessica Schubach. Jessica Schubach. Jessica Schubach. Jessica Schubach. Wow, I guess that means Timmy went to bed there. You see how he just sort of drained out of energy there? Yeah. Thanks, Liberty. I really appreciate it. Alright, crime dissector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Hey, Gray, I'm gonna go to bed, okay?
Yeah, good night, Mary Lou.
Yeah, good night, guys. Gee.
Why are you saying gee? What did they do?
I don't know, I just was, I don't know. Good point, Gray.
Yeah. Wow. All right, everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, see you later, everybody.
I thought you were going to bed, Mary Lou.
Well, I was, but I wanted to say goodnight to all my fans.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Say goodnight to Mary Lou, everybody. She needs you to say it. It's like a drug in her veins. She just needs you to say goodnight.
Yeah, gosh, Gray, it wasn't really a drug. I just like it when they talk to me.
Poor Mary Lou. All right, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And be safe out there.